Good morning and welcome to another New In-Box engine video series, and this is video number 6, and it features an engine that is super cool in my opinion. It's an engine that I've had one or two of in the past, at least one, maybe two, and it's very near and dear to my heart. Engine that came out in 1983, it's an old OS 4-stroke. So without any further delay, let's just get right to showing you this engine. Now, as you can see here, yes, it is the FS-120 engine. And those of you that are familiar with OS 4-stroke engines, this type of box with the 4 with the blue stripes like this designates that this is not a surpass engine. So this is not a 120 surpass. This is the very first OS 120 engine that features the split rockers. This engine is probably about 90% complete as far as accessories, maybe 85%. I couldn't find one that was completely complete within my price parameters, but let's just get right to it. As you can see here, we have the full documentation package, which would include the decals, the OS marketing literature, which is always super cool in my opinion, because if you're ever in doubt about the vintage of your engine, you can always refer back to this beautiful marketing literature and kind of see what other offerings they had at the time. Just love these things that have this old marketing literature in there, because that's just always fun for me to look at. You got your OS warnings, your normal template for mounting. You can see this one's only had the one hole punched out. It may have even fallen out. Nobody cut this or anything. This is what I think is beautiful about this engine. Like I said, or maybe I didn't say it already, I don't know. 1983 is when this engine came out. Look at the instructions. Now this is what leads me to believe that this is really probably from that first era. Early, because they didn't even put the instructions in a booklet form. It's just stapled paper. It's just, I mean, this is just really, when you find OS instructions that are like this, that's paper stapled with a staple, you know you got a pretty old engine. Now I know they didn't serialize these, but I'm betting that this is probably, you know, from 1983-ish. Now here's the one thing about this. Here's the engine, and I'm going to show you this, but before I pull it out and show you the accessories, I'm going to talk about something. Excuse me. There was a major drawback to these early engines, in that in the bottom of the box there was a foam layer. Well, and it wasn't the same foam as this. It was different. And what I've seen in, I guess I had another New In-Box one of these, or another older engine of the same vintage that was New In-Box, because I've seen this twice and I've read about it several times. That old foam would just deteriorate over time, and it was just horrible. I mean, it literally would just flake apart. And I'm going to put some pictures up here and show you what this engine looked like when I first pulled it out and that foam piece was still in there. I mean, there was just this foam particulate matter all over the engine, and that can be a problem. So the very first thing I did when I got this home and saw that, I took the engine out, wrapped it in a paper towel, made sure no more got in the engine, took that foam crap out and blew the box out completely and just got rid of that stuff. Because as you can see in those pictures, it's very easy for all that stuff to get inside either the exhaust or the carb if they were left open. Well, obviously the exhaust is always open, because as far as I know, these always came like this with an exhaust, the stub already installed on there. And the carb, of course, it's probably open too. So the first thing I did was take this out and plug those things up, make sure there was nothing in there, and blew it with an air compressor. So here's the engine, and I got rid of all that stuff in there. I'm going to pull everything out of here and show you what came with this, and tell you why I don't think this is complete. And I could be wrong, I don't know. So here's the beautiful engine. And when I say beautiful, I do mean beautiful. I mean, This thing is a freaking work of art, in my opinion. And one of the reasons I like it is because it has a split rockers. Now that has good things and bad things with an OS engine. And I'll see if I remember to get into them, or I can just get into them right now before I forget. Pre-surpass engines had these little rocker covers that were just really thin, half-height type deals. The actual mechanism to adjust the rocker arm lash and the valve lash is within there. So they'd have to give you these feeler gauges that have a 90-degree or an angle on them so that you could, the camera focus on that? So you could finagle them in there, and it was a real pain in the butt to adjust the valves. So I think Sato may have been watching this all along or something, because they said, well, we're going to do a split rocker no matter what anybody says, but we're not going to have that kind of crap happening. So they put, and then OS eventually changed the design completely anyway. But even with the FS-61, not the FS-90, that didn't really ever have that issue. The FS-61, FS-40 pre-surpass engines, same thing. Excuse me. Even though they weren't split rockers, they had a single piece cover, it was still just a very shallow one, so you still had to reach in there, and it was just a real pain in the butt. So anyway, the split rocker on the OS engine is awesome, and I love the, I think it's the 95 and the 62, I don't know if those are still made either, they were a much later series in the 2000s, but they had the split rockers, and they looked a lot more modern, but still they were nice engines. But this thing is just, it's just beautiful. Brand new, never been run. It's got great compression right now. Just love this engine. So, to the things that came with this and why I say this is not complete. It may be, I don't know. Seeing as that instruction manual was paper stapled, maybe they weren't including an actual exhaust muffler or exhaust pipe with the engine. All I know is that I've seen these engines come with, they always came with a header, but I've also seen them come with a muffler that you could install on there also. I believe, did that really? I know the FS-90 was like that. I could have sworn that I've seen headers and exhaust on these also, but I'm sitting here looking at how small this is, and now I'm not sure if I'm remembering correctly. But anyway, I'm pretty sure that I've seen these actually have exhaust on them, and whether they were stock that came in the box or someone just fitted them with it or not, I don't know, because let's see if for some strange reason this says anything about any accessories. Okay, so here we got a picture right here that shows the pressure adapter. So this one should have had not a muffler, not an exhaust pipe, but a pressure adapter, just like the FS-61 and well, the 20, maybe FS-20. I know the 26 Surpass had a pressure adapter. So it looks like, according to this, there should have been a pressure adapter in here. So no, this is not complete. And here there's actually a picture that shows, they're actually showing what a pain in the ass it is to check your valve lash. So no, that wasn't something that was included here. Pressure adapter. In fact, it's funny because here on the instructions it says pressure adapter, and there's a line in pencil there, like whoever owned this before also noticed that it wasn't there, which is interesting, because maybe this makes me the third or fourth owner of this. I don't know. All I know is that it's not 100% complete. Now the rest of these items I think are good. Now obviously this is good. The prop washer and screws. The screws are for in the old days, and the collet is also drilled. I don't know if you're going to be able to see it or not. In the old days, you used to have used to drill through your prop and secure the prop with screws in addition to a nut. I've never done that, but that's what this is. That's why there's holes in that. That's why there's screws here, and this is stapled. So that's never been opened. This does not look like it's ever been opened either, which is the tool the accessories for, you know, disassembling the engine, or at least taking the rocker covers off and checking a valve lash. Here is the choke mechanism, which is curious to me because I don't know why the choke wouldn't be installed on there, maybe, but it looks like this is a stapled bag, so maybe they just weren't installing it on there. And then, of course, what I already showed you was the feeler gauges, and there's two in there. Those are going to be a .04 and a .01, or a .1 millimeter, I think is the other one. Let's pull this out real quick and see. Yep. So let's see if we can. .1. Let's try and do it like this, because it looked like my camera was actually focused on that. So this is the feeler gauges you get. And that's a pretty standard set of feeler gauges anyway. And then of course you have this wrench. So I would say now this is probably 95% complete. But just a beautiful example. Now this is an engine that probably will get run. I don't think I could help myself from running this engine. It's probably also one that I would keep, as opposed to trying to resell it unless somebody really wants it. If somebody really wants it, and like I said in my first new in-box video, that when I sell these, the ones that I'm going to sell, I'm not taking a loss. So I will tell you, if you're interested in buying ones when it comes to that time, I will tell you exactly what I paid for it with a picture of the price on eBay where I got them, and that's what I'm going to ask for, plus the shipping. I'm not going to take a loss on these if I sell these engines. It's just not going to happen. I'm not taking losses on engines anymore. So, but like I said before, all of the engines that are featured in my new in-box series, regardless of size, are all under $300, which I think for when you're getting a vintage engine, that's a pretty damn good deal nowadays, because you see a lot of retailers and people selling new in-box stuff that's just stupid expensive. But anyway, that is new in-box engine video series number 6, the wonderful 1983 vintage OS FS-120. Thank you very much for watching.